The only way that we can protect ourselves is to get our money out of the bank. Get your money into, have a system or an instrument of trade, whether it's gold and silver, whether it's seeds and emergency supplies. Have a contingency plan. Talk to your neighbors. Find out who knows what and how to do what. Find out if you have any veterans on your corner. Protect your veterans. Stand up for them. What happened with Brandon Robb and other veterans, there's something that people don't know, and this is something that's absolutely legal and you can do. Unless a police officer has a search warrant for your property or a warrant for your arrest, you don't have to open that door. You can keep that door closed and force the cop to speak to you through the door. I recommend that if a cop shows up on your doorstep and he does not have a warrant for your arrest or a warrant to search and seize any property or be on your property, I recommend that you keep that door shut and speak to him through the door and call 911 because 911 records all calls. Or get out your video camera and record what's being said. And if you have another cell phone or another phone at the house, call your neighbors, call your friends, have people show up at the door and have them record what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a victim of being carted away without any proof, just on suspicion. We don't have to give in to this. We can stand up. The law is on our side.
You're right. I don't think that we need to necessarily play nice with the police. We can be polite, but we certainly don't have to put ourselves in harm's way by walking out onto the front porch or into the driveway where they can snatch and grab you. You know, here's the other thing I was thinking about while we were talking, and I think you need to help people understand this, Susanne. The derivatives exposure that the American banks have is some $600-700 trillion by some estimates, and the CDS exposure just to the European debt, these credit default swaps, which essentially are insurance policies against the collapse of the euro. When the euro falls, when the eurozone collapses, all of those 70-some trillion in credit default swaps are going to come due, and there's not enough money in this country to pay those, to make good on those. So when we talk about a collapse, I don't think we're just talking about a collapse of the dollar. I think we're talking about an epic Western banking collapse, which will have ripple effects around the planet.
You're exactly right, but remember this. The banking cartels, who are the arm for the global elite, they print the money, so they don't care about the money. What they're trying to get is countries to declare sovereign debt. Sovereign debt is when you have no more money to give the banks and you have to give them over the physical land. They are trying to get Germany to hand over Germany. They're trying to get Greece to hand over Greece. They're going to try and get America to hand over America. That is part of the end game. That's just one aspect of global domination. So when we see the collapse of the dollar, it's a symptom of them trying to get sovereign debt. And that's what we're fighting against. We're protecting our constitutional republic because we don't want this physical land that we live on to be allocated to the banking cartels, which will then be controlled by the global elite and will be part of their global governance.
Chilling. That's chilling. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The end game here is to make us all slaves and serfs under a one world government banking cartel. And some people think that they're losing control and that they ultimately will not get that which they seek. Others think that their plan is going, that all's going according to plan. What do you think? Do you think that they've lost control, or do you think that this is going exactly according to a demonic plan of some sort? Do you think it's going according to plan, or have they lost control?
I'm not sure. I know that in Greece, the people in Greece got sick of what the banking cartels were doing to them, so they created the Volz checks. And they got businesses back and running with business markets that they set up, and they were using barter and trade, and they were using a form of fiat in order to facilitate so the businesses could keep running. Everybody has to remember this is only one form of a monetary system. This is only one form of a government. There are millions of ways that we could do this. Throughout history, people have traded shells as currency, feathers, pieces of wood. We are conditioned to believe that this is the one and only way to be, but this is not. This is a form, and it has been usurped and corrupted by the global elite. And the only way or one of the only ways to combat this is to open our minds, to take back our constitutional republic and trust that we can build another government and we can build another monetary system. And we can do it on a domestic level, and which will then branch out to a global level.
I hope you're right. For the longest time, I was right there with you, and then we saw what they did to Ron Paul. We saw how they maligned the delegates down in Tampa and treated them like second-class citizens. I mean, the Republican Party's corrupt. The Democratic Party's completely corrupt. The system is completely corrupt. You're right. It needs to collapse and then begin anew. But with 50% of this public still supporting, a Marxist like Barack Obama, where is the hope? Where do you dig deep enough to find hope that there's people informed enough, like those listening right now, that have libertarian values and spirits that embrace the Founding Fathers, that embrace liberty and know what it means to help us rebuild? Because 50% of this public, at least, is just beyond help.
Well, the ones that are awake, we need to start organizing. That's why I say, talk to your neighbors. Feel them out. See how they feel. Do they still buy into the duopoly, or are they waking up? Are they in some sort of form of waking up? Once you've established who's awake and who's asleep, organize. Organize internationally. Contact other people. Use Facebook. Use your systems against them. Email your contacts and people you know and find out and organize. The people that are asleep, the people that won't wake up, we can't wake them up. Try, but if they won't wake up, move on. And we need to organize the people that are awake. We need to really wake up the people who are starting to wake up, and we need to do something, because the alternative is to be forced into internment camps, massive scale of murder and genocide and democide by our own government, which is murder by your government. And living in an Agenda 21 megacity where whoever is left is just a biochemical automaton. And I don't want my children to grow up in that. And I certainly don't want to live my golden years in an internment camp or a re-education camp or whatever they want to call it. So I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep writing articles. I'm going to keep coming on shows like yours, and I'm going to keep talking about this. And I think that we shouldn't be intimidated by the fact that they're sequestering our veterans in mental institutions, but we should be vocal about the fact that this is indefinite detention. Catherine Forrester in New York said that indefinite detention is illegal, and Obama's lawyers are fighting it. But it's still legal to Baker Act somebody, and that's what we're seeing happening to our veterans right now. They are the first line of defense. When they roll out martial law, these veterans have already been trained in tactical operations. They will know exactly how to combat these military that show up. We need to support these people, find out who they are in your community, and get together with them and support them and come up with a contingency plan of your own.
Yeah, and for those of you that are listening that for some reason or another support the Democratic side of things and Barack Obama, let's just help them understand what you just said there about Catherine Forrester's decision that the NDAA, an illegal detention, without writ of habeas corpus, is illegal, is unconstitutional. Now, to refresh people's memories, Obama said he wouldn't sign the NDAA, and he signed it on New Year's Eve. And then he said he wouldn't use it. And then when Forrester said it's unconstitutional, let's throw it out, he has his attorneys fighting it. So if he didn't want to sign it, but he signed it, and he said he wouldn't use it, but he is fighting Forrester's decision, what does that say about this criminal government, people? I mean, we need to wake up. We need to call a spade a spade. We need to stand up. We need to speak out, and we need to take our country back. As Alex Jones has been saying, he's been posting a lot of your work, Susanne, if you're not going to speak out now, you're not going to pick up the sword later. So now's the time. Get active, find a pair, grow a pair, stand up and speak out, and let's take liberty back, because this is, I think, the final hour. This is our last chance, Susanne.
I agree with you. Everybody around you, we are all in this together. There is no separation anymore other than the global elite is trying to lock down the globe and create a one-world government, and whoever they don't kill will become their serfs and their slaves. You should think about how you can possibly do anything to prevent this.
And we've always said here that we're all in this mess together, every single one of us, This goes beyond socioeconomic class. This goes beyond race. This goes beyond religion. This cuts down to, as I've always said, Susanne, at this point, it's humanity versus the banksters. That's what it is. That's what it is. And people need to face the facts, face the cold, hard truth, face the military state, face the tyranny. Grow a pair. Face it. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends. Susanne, before we let you go, you were always working on something interesting, at least an article a day, sometimes two. What's coming next?
Well, I like to do dot connectors. Doug Hagman has been speaking to an informant who's been talking to him about false flag operations. We see that the DHS is buying all the ingredients for a fertilizer bomb. The National Forestry is the next agency to order hollow point bullets, along with the Social Security Office and NOAA. And I have an article coming out about the dot connecting to where you can see how their plan for a surprise in October or November that has to do with the elections, that has to do with continuity of government, possible suspension of the U.S. Constitution. But we have to be aware that they have plans. These people shot Kennedy. These people shot Lincoln. There's a possible major catastrophe coming. If they blow up another Moro building like they did in Oklahoma City, we could see massive amounts of people getting hurt. We need to be aware that they're not just ordering hollow point bullets for target practice. If you're going to practice in a target range, you're not going to order hollow point bullets. We need to wake up and realize that something is about to happen. And the more we talk about it, and the more that we get other people to talk about it, and the more that we're public about what we see happening and this plan that we see unfolding, the more we might be able to stave off what's going on. They love to work in the shadows. They love to surprise us. If they're not surprising us, then it's quite possible that they can't pull it off.
That's right, and people should keep in mind that hollow point bullets are against the Geneva Convention. Our own armed forces would not use them against foreign nationals in a war. So why is a domestic law enforcement agency loading up with hollow point bullets to use domestically? It goes beyond my ability to process it, Susanne. But when you're talking about 450 million of them, who knows? Well, Susanne Posel of OccupyCorporatism.com, I sure do appreciate your time. Appreciate the work that you're doing on behalf of liberty and getting the word out. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming on your show.
We always love having you. Thanks for your courage and your honor. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching, sharing, and spreading this information with friends and family. Together we can take liberty back. Thanks for watching. Good night.